Volume.
Yeah. Yes. We're supposed to have an interview here right now, so make us see what happen. Yeah?
We're not getting them in yet.
They're not coming yet. All right. This is the cutting edge. What they have with you? We have some difficulty here, but we are trying to smooth it out. You understand? Place is warm as usual. Dark, warm. No moon in the sky. We have some things lined up for you. Trust me. You're not going to want to listen to nothing else tonight. You're going to listen to what we have to offer. We want to, we done the interview, we want to play a tape with Elon Musk, and what him doing. You understand? So, and they want to hear what the people them think about Elon Musk activity as it relates to chip in the human being. We want to listen to that. And then we want to listen to Hamas version of the December 7th attack. Yes, Hamas version of the attack that took place December 7th that sparked this big war we are going, you know. You know, we hear the Israeli them version and it spread all over the world about the whole heap of burning a baby and killing a raping a woman and all them things there. Well, we want to listen to, and this news are come out of England, the BBC are come out of England. I know England at
Just on when you're ready.
England are defend Israel, so we're going to play something from England where Hamas sent out a press release. So why listen to that? Anyway, I hope is Jackie up on the phone. Hello?
Hello.
It's Alexander. You call yourself. What's your middle name? Is middle name that? It's your middle name. Your name Campbell.
My name is the title, but Alexander Davis is my born name.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Your sounds perky in the night, I know. Trust me.
Well, I have to kind of perk myself up because it's my bedtime.
Yeah, my bedtime. So, where people usually do, it's take matchstick and hold up them eye to listen to the program, you know. All right. So, we're talking about a function that is supposed to be held next month, Black History Month, and also Reggae Month. And we want you to tell the people what will happen in Florida. And it's what, the 13th or the 13th or the 14th, one of them?
Yeah.
The 14th.
The 13th.
Yeah.
The 13th is the Tuesday. We are going to be having our Reggae Icon Awards. It's our 5th annual, and we are going to be honoring you, MUTABARUKA, in our Market Topic category. That's so deserving.
And
I won't say that I grew up listening to you because I'm sure we're of a similar age to
I don't mind it, you know. Age is not a hindrance to me. Trust me. I don't mind age. Age is a nice thing to have. Especially like how some people are dead and them don't even reach half of my age yet. You know?
Absolutely.
So give that. All right, so
go ahead.
Yeah, so you say you're going to have a Marcus Garvey Award. I swear you have other awards too. You can name out the other people, them.
Yeah, so we're going to have the Icon Award, the Icon Award to Tony Rebel. Of course, I was just there recently. You were an MP at the 30th anniversary of Rebel Blue. Very deserving, Tony Rebel. To get this award. And also...
What is his award? What is the name of his award? No, what is his name? What is the name of his award? Hello?
Yes, what was that?
No, I was asking, what is the name of Tony Rebel's award?
Reggae Icon Award.
Oh, Reggae Icon Award. Okay. Yeah, it's a Judy Mowat now. Yeah.
Huh?
You said Judy Mowat.
Yes, Judy Mowat is getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. We've had Rita Mark on with that same award. I believe it was last year.
Yeah.
And so this year we're on to do what we are putting that she will be attendant. Because of the challenging time for her, but
She was at the premiere. She was at the premiere the other day. She was at the premiere, the Bob Marley One Love premiere the other day.
Oh, good. So yes, I'm happy to hear that.
All right.
So we're not sure we're open and in attendance. But it is disturbing, and I'm sure if she can't make it, she will represent it. But everybody else will actually come.
All right. So what else is offered at this award ceremony? I mean, what? You never mentioned the area that is giving away the award in Florida. What's the area name?
Oh, yes. So the city of Miramar. If you have not heard of it, it should, because we made history. We are the only city in the United States that is governed by 5 Jamaicans or folks of Jamaican descent.
You're serious?
So, local government. We're in charge of everything that happens in the city of Miramar. And we are the 4th largest city in Broward County, which consists of those 2 million people. But our city has 150,000. And then in the state of Florida, we're the 14th largest city.
Okay.
We're the
So Jamaica going to go colonize the area?
We do. One of them. Largest population Jamaicans in the United States.
Wow. More than Queens and Bronx and them places.
No, some places in New York have more. Number 5 or 9. One of in the top 10.
Yeah. You know, years ago, I was given the keys to the city of Dade County.
That's 2.5 million.
Yeah, that was years ago. When Dennis Brown was alive, you know, they had a function up there, and I think Freddie McGregor got one to the city to the Dade County. That was my first. That was my 4th city. I was wondering why they always call it the key to the city. You can't open nowhere with the key.
And you're welcome anytime. I know there's the door open.
Okay.
But we have to
So will I have to get visa to come to Florida when I come in here? No, I can't just come with my passport.
Yeah, right.
No, you know, tell me that's right, you know, and when I reach at the airport, I'll get turned back. You hear her now?
All right, we'll come to the break, Muta, and we have to wrap.
All right, we'll take a break and come forward to you. Hold on, here. Events taking place.
Yeah. So, we have the Reggae Icon Awards on the 13th on Cloud. Who's won the competition. We're also awarded because that dancehall week. We'll be giving the dancehall legend award to Black men at that event.
Okay.
Well, major event now with the Afro Series Festival on Saturday, the 17th.
That time I gone.
You gone already?
Then you tell me must go away. I want to tell me must go and where I go.
Nah, you can't tell me that you go on.
You tell me must come when you tell me and go when you tell me. Yeah, we have something going after the event.
So anyway, on this show, again, we have to play, but on this show, we're going to have artists, Grammy Award-winning artists, Kabaka Pyramid, performing. We have Afrobeat artists, Fireboy, BML. It's several genres of African dance form. We have a salsa, a performer, and his band, David Luca. We have Compa, which is the Haitian, of course, music. A guy named Haiti. we supporting. We have a little bit of hip hop mix with young violin, and we have a chorus just added Tony Rebel. So and we have a variety of artists from the variety of genres of music. We have a couple of local acts that we're trying to help off. You know, to up and keep them. And that is the event that tickets are very reasonable. It's got like $20 for lawn chairs, keeping your own chair, and $30 for reserve seating. And up there.
So the award ceremony is what? Is a free thing or is just invitation only?
Yes. You have to sign up. Yeah. So we have 100 people who have signed up to attend that.
But me not give my guest list yet. Oh, my guest list is not 600, you know.
Yeah, what?
My guest list is not in the 600.
Our.
You hear me?
Yeah. But the place that we have that hall can only hold like 350 people. So we have a overflow area.
No, but me have guest list. So you're not going to include my guest name. Tell me.
Yeah, man.
No, it's just we start a plane.
A plane? What?
She right. She said, what?
Listen, we're providing food, we're providing, at least one ticket to have wine, beer. You can't take everybody.
All right, tell me how much guests me allow now. Tell me how much guests me allow.
You're going to have a table. I believe your table has five.
Five.
So do you have more than five?
No. I joke me I make, you never know, so Mr. Comical, you never know that. So I joke me I make with you.
I try to pick up some of your that, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But each of the other we're going to have performances. We're going to have, of course, music, dancing, night.
Okay. All right, so remind the people them.
That we have that local clear.
All right. Remind the people them when, where, and what.
All right, so by the way, tomorrow we're going to have a kickoff. Put it that way. February 1st, we're going to kick off at City Hall. Black City Reggae, that's what it's about. And swap. Then on the 13th, we have the Item Awards. And that's all. And that's from 6 to 6:30, 7:30, cocktail hour, red carpet, and then we go with the entertainment and the award.
Okay.
And then that goes to the 11 o'clock. Then we have on the Friday night at one of our parks, which is usually Red Card, we have the Select Showdown, which is going to be a nice event outdoors at our park with 3 DJs facing off for around on the side.
Okay.
And then on the Saturday, the 17th, we have the big show, and that's at the amphitheater. And you can get all that information on for the tickets for the after the festival at our website, and you can go to MiramarFL.gov, or you can get tickets. Miramar is MIRAMAR. FL.Florida.gov.
Okay. All right. Well, give thanks. We'll see you in Florida.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. All right.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, you hear it. Those who's in Florida know that we'll be... Well, Jamaica don't take over the area already, but we're going to really come move in Panama, in Florida there. So, your sister talk. And I want to tell you about some other events. So, we're not talking about one event that we're going to take part in.
Raise your mic.
Yeah, we have another event where we're going to take part in. So, we're going to tell you that as the time gets nearer to the event, as the time get nearer. So, yes, we're there with you. This is the cutting edge on IRFM. Okay, so, you know, we get disturbed. As we say, we did try to sort out some things. But what we get sort out, you know, though, believe you. It look like it gets sort out. It look like it gets sort out, you know. Well, I tell you, jackass in the world, I live. It really don't live for true. It look like it gets sort out. Okay, here we go.
All right, come down with the level of the music.
The sister name Yadine Essence. Yadine Essence. Deliver Us. Brand new tune. So, the other day we played this. I want you to listen to this. And then we will play the one we will never play it. I want you to listen to it carefully, you know. Yes, I don't know if you're going to hear it on the next radio station. Because I know them people are not like certain things them broadcast, certain things them not broadcast. So we want to play this what we did play before. Listen.
We think probably in about 6 months we should be able to have our first Neuralink in a human. So the first two applications we're going to aim for in humans are restoring vision. And I think this is like notable in that even if someone has never had vision ever, like they were born blind, we believe we can still restore vision. The visual part of the cortex is still there. Even if they've never seen before, we're confident that they could see. As miraculous as it may sound, we're confident that it is possible to restore full body functionality to someone who has a severed spinal cord.
All right, that was Elon Musk talking about restoring vision. Even if you couldn't see it from your barn, them go and put a chip inside of your, maybe your head, obviously, where it will restore your vision. It will awaken certain things in you biologically that will make you can see. Now, this is the one we will want to play now. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack, and certainly some big news in terms of science and technology. Of course, it kind of feels like out of a science fiction movie as we're learning more information. Elon Musk tweeting this out, saying the first human received an implant from Neuralink yesterday and is recovering well. The initial results show promising neuron spike detection, and it's a big monumental step here in terms of this technology. For more on this and to give it context around it, because there's a lot into this, we want to bring in right now Liam Drew, a former neurobiologist, an author, a reporter, journalist covering medicine, biology. Liam, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Just give me a grasp. How big of a deal is this to have that Neuralink, that brain chip there to kind of help connect a computer to a brain? How big of a deal is this?
Well, I think all of us that have been following this field have been waiting for Neuralink to finally put their device into human volunteers. This is a very exciting field in general at the moment. There's multiple companies working in the space, but since Neuralink were founded in 2016, very well funded, very exciting group of scientists recruited there. The field has really been waiting to see what they'll do and how their technology performs in humans.
Yeah, and it's like you said, just the name on top of it, Elon Musk and Neuralink, does that maybe give it more credence? Does that maybe make people more exciting about maybe the rapid ascension of this technology?
Well, Elon obviously brings a lot of attention to whatever he does. I think he's certainly he's brought massive investment to the field, and I think it is very exciting how quickly they've moved. They both developed an implant and a robot that does the neurosurgery, which in itself is quite an exciting development. I think all of us know that Elon Musk can be quite polarizing, so I think for some people it's fantastic to have him at the head of things. Other people, it creates uncertainties, but it certainly brings attention. And yeah, like I said, I think the whole field is waiting to see what this trial will bring.
Yeah, and it's the first one there as well. But of course, several months ago, the Food and Drug Administration gave approval for a trial saying they wanted to enlist people ages 22 and above who are living with different disabilities like this. Can you maybe tell me maybe the specifics on where this application goes from here? And obviously talking about those people that potentially could get a brain chip to help.
ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, as you said, and that's sort of trying to use this every day of their life. Stability may be much more valuable than sort of potentially very high performance. So what we're going to see with several of these companies now in human trials is the sort of see those trade-offs and see which ones are most important in real-world settings. And, so I think it's just a compare and contrast, and I think that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and seeing science kind of happen in real time where people make different hypotheses and they go down different paths to see potentially which works best based on what their kind of thought process is as well. But like you mentioned, all these applications, maybe differently. What can maybe the applications be in the future? What can this kind of technology evolve into? Where do we see it going potentially?
Well, that's the big question. I mean, so like I said earlier, when Musk was talking to Joe Rogan, he was certainly envisaging a world where, symbiosis with AI and sort of bi-directional communication with the brain. I mean, it's very easy to go science fiction with these predictions. There's not to say it won't happen in decades' time. I think at the moment, like I say, we're just looking for something that's stable and safe. Like that stability and long-term performance and how the brain reacts to implants is all things that we still need to learn. And there's a whole other world of people that are trying to sort of do sort of surface recordings of brain activity, which would be much more amiable to mass market devices, much more cruder decoding, but that might be able to pick up whether you're tired or whether you're focused. So we're sort of really opening up a new sort of route of communication between our brains, our most private of organs, and sort of external devices. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, it's easier to read activity than to sort of put information into the brain, but that's the sort of bidirectional communication is another thing on the table. So yeah,
the future is definitely uncertain, but right now an exciting time in the field. Liam, Drew, any parting words? Any more thoughts? I know it's a very complicated, complex kind of topic here. Anything that we missed that you might want to touch on before I let you go?
Well, I think I would just say I think the medical ethics and ethicists need to keep up with this. There's going to be interesting questions about privacy if these devices are in there reading our neural activity, and also who's in charge of this. If there's a device between your private thoughts and your sort of actions in the world, if something goes amiss, if something goes wrong, who's responsible, who's in control. So there are certainly pressing ethical questions that need to be asked and frameworks developed to regulate this stuff.
Yes, may I tell you? So, you hear what go on, right? The man a build some chip that can bring forward a lot of things in the human structure that is important to human beings. Now, hear my question now to the ones who are listening. If one of your relatives, like your mother, your father, your grandmother, have dementia, have cancer, Dr. Giara almost months to live, and she have dementia where she don't know you from me, from them, and you can afford to get one of those chips to bring them forward into the world of reality, would you allow those chips to be implanted in your loved ones so that they can live a normal life again? Or would you just say, "Sure, them so dead, so them put no chip"? And even to another level, if you went to the doctor and found out that you have cancer, and you realize that your brains are gone, and you get blind and all these things, and you can afford to get one of those chips to prevent those disease and those sickness from move forward, that it can kill you, would you get the chip? Because we hear of a whole heap of arguments about chip. over the years, even people use the Bible as an argument to say, no one can buy or sell unless him have a mark of the beast. And his number shall be 666. And then we're going to put it in your forehead. So, we know when people hear this, them going to say the Bible are fulfilled. So, may I ask, whether your Bible are fulfilled or not, whether you believe in the Bible or not, would you get one of those sheep to put in your loved one to make them life not be miserable and disgusting? I would prefer to emphasize Black History Month. We understand Reggae Month still, but you know, when them start to bring something else, it always seems as if the other thing get replaced. So nobody not talk about Black History Month again in Jamaica. Them talk about it somewhere else in the other island them and in America. We choose to say Black History Month because we understand what we are saying and what we would like to be attained in this month. It's tomorrow is the next month. But we want the people them to take a little time and a little stock of the contribution of black people in world history. That is what it is all about, you know. The contribution of black people in world history. And if we keep ignoring what we have done in world history, we're going to feel so it was just some little people where I run up and down in a jungle and eat raw meat and all them something there. It's very important that we take a stock of black history. Okay, so here we go. Brand new tune from Irene. Here we go. Suppose the cure for cancer was to mean you put a chip in your loved one or your family or you to save your life. Give them the stigma with the pan chip. Like, the chip in your phone and all them. Give them the stigma in a chip. Would you put a chip in your body to get rid of your disease? Your disease that can kill you or kill you. Thing I go. So much distraction from life and the beauty of life. So much distraction. You have to focus. You could decide to just trip, you fall down. Yeah. They don't say how I hurt, man. You don't see the whole heap of things that hurt. Then become like them. It's like them blind to where I go on. Them not say the thing now go how it's supposed to go. And some people are saying it go exactly where it's supposed to go because I say it's supposed to go. It's like a man I go tell you, say, boy, if you're dead by a gunshot, you're not go dead by a plane crash. Or if you're dead by a plane crash, them think that's some joke talk. That's some joke talk. Them think they no. Look here. We have to look on where we are going in the earth right now and realize, things now go on like it's supposed to go on. Don't tell me about it go on as so God wants it to be and it go and stay so until God come from earth. None of them joke business there. A man a decide what happen and what not happen. Man a decide it. And the heart of man is getting so evil and corrupted that the youth them is like zombies. Yeah, man, the youth them is like zombies. Early in the morning, when everybody a got work, a whole heap of youth stand up on a light post or up on a corner with a little cup in them hand and a spliff in the other hand. And I talk about some little no relevant conversation, topic. Madness. The youth them get away. Mr. Aboriginal walk away. Now yesterday, Mr. Aboriginal walk. And I look on the Aboriginal, and I say, I bet you that youth the pants are going to drop off of him. And you see, the more him realize the pants are drop off him, and the more him walk with him foot wide, you know. Because him not really want to dry it up to make it look no way. And the pants supposed to have belt, you know, but nobody now wear belt again. Nobody now wear belt again, you know. The youth are walk with them foot, 2 foot, them stretch out on the other side, one on him right and one on him left. And I said, but wait, brethren, and you know why I'm not want, you know why I'm couldn't. Have to wait long, cross the road and go over the other side before him can dry it up. And him a dry it up like him no one to say him a dry it up neither. I mean, I watch him a go down the road, you know. Him a dry it up like him now go like him now dry it up. So where you carry yourself through all them madness so far? Where you carry yourself through them madness so far? Put a belt on your pants, man. Or a piece of string. Dry it up. Why you, I mean, I tell you, disgusting. Come on, over the pan a corner and drink alcohol in the early morning and I come check you for your money. What kind of madness that? Him dey on the corner, you go about your business, stop a gas station and buy gas, and him have the kind of man I come to you. And I tell you, say, why I'm motor you can do for me? Why I'm father? And all them things there. Me don't even know so me have so much picnic rasta. This is the cutting edge and I refer me take a break and come forward. It's a cutting edge. Really I take view of where I go on in the so-called Middle East with Hamas and Israeli. Well, we have heard what the Israeli them say, why them carry out this devastating killing, mass murders in the Gaza. Them say some Hamas so-called terrorists breach the walls and the gate and go into Israel, kill some soldier, go in a one festival, draw out some people, kill them, burn some baby, hang up the baby them pan line and all them way there, and rape the woman them. And because of that, the whole world, especially America, repeat that story and justify the killing of what going on right now in the Gaza. As a matter of fact, them say it was Israel 9/11 that, and the December the 7th was Israel 9/11. So you know how serious them take it. So on the premise that place that took place, the massacre and murder of Israelis and torture of women and rape of women, the justification to kill 25,000 people, including children, is justified by the Israeli army and the Benjamin Netanyahu for doing what he's doing now. But the more it happens, the more the Gaza people, the more the world recognizes, no, this no, I can't go so. Because you realize, when the war between Russia and Ukraine start, America did ball out, say, them are going to bring Putin to the World Court, International Court of Justice, because them did not kill a whole heap of old people and picnic in a Ukraine. But according to the statistics, really and truly, since the time of the war in the Gaza there, you realize the Israeli Defense Force kill at least 200 people per day. Yes. Them kill at least 200 people per day. That never did happen are still not happening in Ukraine. But America was balling out with them allies in NATO was balling out, say they must bring Putin to the ICJ, International Court of Justice. Yet still, America stand by and see this happen. And them continue to supply Israel with weapons to massacre the people in the Gaza, blow them up, and if that bomb won't work, them use them reluctant to give them or give the other countries access to bring in supplies that the people them don't starve. And that is really where we're going right now. So apart from the starvation and the disease, the dead bodies them were under them 1,000 odd bill I can get but thousands of buildings them blow down, them lick down, you know. I don't know how them places could build up back. Anyway, the point is that we have heard what the Israeli them say, why them doing what them doing. It was a devastation, but you never hear where the Palestinians them say. We never hear what the Palestinians say. What is the version that the Palestinians have that is different from the Israeli version of what took place on December the 7th? How much people hear the Palestinian side of the story? Well, tonight we're going to present to you the Palestinian side of the story. We're going to present it to you, the Palestinian side of the story. So why you listen carefully, because trust me, them say jackass at the world no level, and that's true. And you say propaganda, when you hear propaganda from the oppressor, because him have more outlet for propaganda, is well believed, well believed, and you can't contradict him because when say done gone out there already as truth. But more and more, and when we say more and more, now we're not talking about press, media houses where people always that says underground media houses, them deal with too much conspiracy. But we are talking about established broadcasting medias, you know, like BBC, Al Jazeera, and some part of CNN. Because we see how CNN man get fired too. Because him ball out loud, say it gone too far. And now we hear a whole heap of the men them in the government, a Biden government, a shout now, and I say, hold on, things are getting weird now. Why is it them always why is it that America always put a black man in front of the army to talk to the public or to the leaders them? Remember Colin Powell? He was the main man we attack. I tell the people them lie. And now them have another black man, you know what them say. Him did sick and him never tell nobody say him did sick. And him did attack, him talk. Well, but why you listen to this? As me I say, more time you not going to hear them thing here on Jamaican radio, because it's a crying shame that they will pick out things from BBC and they will pick out things from CNN, them kind of established media there. But them don't go beyond that. Well, this is not underground, you know. Come to bump. Listen.
Right, so it's a somewhat obvious oversight in journalistic coverage of the events of October 7th that nobody had bothered to actually ask Hamas why they did what they did. Well, nobody condones the violence they may have shown on the night of October 7th. So many narratives have been weaved in order to, at least at first, justify the Israeli response. Before it became crystal clear it wasn't proportionate. It was genocide that was being carried out instead. In light of that, you'd think perhaps somebody might try and, talk to Hamas, get their side of the story, interview them about their actions, their plans and their intentions, but no, not a hope. Not from our media. In fact, Hamas have released a statement. But that's too much like effort to pay attention to as well, it would seem. In fact, for this statement to come to my attention, it's come from a Palestinian academic in the West Bank to a Palestinian activist in this country who then took it to a renowned independent news site. So it seems only right that their side of the story should be told as widely as possible, so people can make as informed an opinion having both sides of the story. And whether you're pro-Israel or pro-Palestine or frankly are just pro-peace and want an end to all of this atrocity, you can't argue with the need to hear from all concerned, surely. Can you? Right, so there is a Hamas statement on what happened on October 7th, and having heard from large swathes of the media what Israel has said about the events of that night versus what has been discovered following some investigation, perhaps the Hamas version of events is well overdue being heard. What a pity none of our media have ever seemed interested. Fortunately, those with an interest in getting this point of view heard have worked to achieve this. A briefing provided by Hamas has been passed along to the UK by the Palestinian academic Professor Mazin Kumsieh, who teaches at Bethlehem University in the West Bank and also runs the Palestinian Museum of Natural History. Now, having passed this briefing on to a Palestinian rights activist in the UK, Flavio Santofani, they have in turn passed it on to Squawkbox, who have reproduced the briefing in full in what is a UK exclusive, sad to say, when surely journalism is about exposing the truth, and that requires viewpoints from both sides of these atrocities in order to ascertain. No other media have bothered with this. No other media have picked this up. It is impossible for large, big-budget mainstream news sources to not be aware of this briefing being in existence. So what gives, guys? If you aren't covering something as important as a key piece to this story, like the version of events of one of the actual parties involved, then what are you doing? Shaping a narrative, telling us what to think instead, clearly. It's the only conclusions you can reach. We've learned a lot in the 3 months since October 7th. See if this 10-point response from Hamas and any of the contents thereof ring any bells with you, and use it to formulate your own opinion. This is what it says. In light of the Israeli fabricated accusations and allegations over Operation Al-Aqsa Flood on October 7th and its repercussions, we in the Islamic Resistance Movement, Hamas, clarify the following. 1. Operation Al-Aqsa Flood on October 7th targeted the Israeli military sites and sought to arrest the enemy's soldiers to pressure on the Israeli authorities to release the thousands of Palestinians held in Israeli jails through a prisoner exchange deal. Therefore, the operation focused on destroying the Israeli army's Gaza division, the Israeli military sites stationed around the Israeli settlements around Gaza. 2. Avoiding harm to civilians, especially children, women and elderly people, is a religious and moral commitment by all the Al-Qassam Brigade's fighters. We reiterate that the Palestinian resistance was fully disciplined and committed to the Islamic values during the operation, and that the Palestinian fighters only targeted the occupation soldiers and those who carried weapons against our people. In the meantime, the Palestinian fighters were keen to avoid harming civilians, despite the fact that the resistance does not possess precise weapons. In addition, if there was any case of targeting civilians, it happened accidentally and in the course of the confrontation with the occupation forces. Since its establishment in 1987, the Hamas movement committed itself to avoiding harm to civilians. After Zionist criminal Baruch Goldstein in 1994 committed a massacre against Palestinian worshippers in the Al-Ibrahimi mosque in occupied Hebron city, the Hamas movement announced an initiative to avoid civilians, the brunt of fighting by all parties, but the Israeli occupation rejected it and even did not give any comment on it. The Hamas movement also repeated such calls several times, but received via deaf ear from the Israeli occupation, which continued its deliberate targeting and killing of Palestinian civilians. 3. Maybe some faults happened during Operation Al-Aqsa Flood's implementation due to the rapid collapse of the Israeli security and military system, and the chaos caused along the border areas with Gaza. As attested by many, the Hamas movement dealt in a positive and kind manner with all civilians who have been held in Gaza, and sought from the earliest days of the aggression to release them. And that's what happened during the week-long humanitarian truce, where these civilians were released in exchange of releasing Palestinian women and children from Israeli jails. 4. What the Israeli occupation promoted of allegations that the Al-Qassam brigades on October 7th were targeting Israeli civilians are nothing but complete lies and fabrications. The source of these allegations is the Israeli official narrative, and no independent source proved any of them. It is a well-known fact that the Israeli official narrative had always sought to demonize the Palestinian resistance, while also legalizing its brutal aggression on Gaza. Here are some details that go against the Israeli allegations. Video clips taken on that day, October 7th, along with the testimonies by Israelis themselves that were released later, showed that the Al-Qassam Brigade's fighters didn't target civilians, and many Israelis were killed by the Israeli army and police due to their confusion. It has also been firmly refuted the lie of the 40 beheaded babies by the Palestinian fighters, and even Israeli sources denied this lie. Many of the Western media agencies unfortunately adopted this allegation and promoted it. The suggestion that the Palestinian fighters committed rape against Israeli women was fully denied, including by the Hamas movement. A report by the Mondo Vice news website on December 1st, 2007, and that Israel used such allegation to fuel the genocide in Gaza. According to two reports by the Israeli Yedioth Aharonoth newspaper on October 10th and the Haaretz newspaper on November 18th, many Israeli civilians were killed by an Israeli military helicopter, especially those who were in the Nova Music Festival near Gaza, where 364 Israeli civilians were killed. The two reports said the Hamas fighters reached the area of the festival without any prior knowledge of the festival, where the Israeli helicopter opened fire on both the Hamas fighters and the participants in the festival. The Yedioth Aharonoth also said the Israeli army, to prevent further infiltrations from Gaza and to prevent any Israelis being arrested by the Palestinian fighters, struck over 300 settlements where Palestinian fighters and Israelis were inside in a clear application of the Israeli army notorious Hannibal directive, which clearly says that better a dead civilian hostage or soldier than taken alive, to avoid engaging in a prisoner swap with the Palestinian resistance. Furthermore, the occupation authorities revised the number of their killed soldiers and civilians from 1,400 to 1,200 after finding that 200 burnt corpses had belonged to the Palestinian fighters who were killed and mixed with Israeli corpses. This means that the one who killed the fighters is the one who killed the Israelis, knowing that only the Israeli army possesses military planes that killed, burned and destroyed Israeli areas on October 7th. The Israeli heavy aerial raids across Gaza that led to the death of nearly 60 Israeli captives also prove that the Israeli occupation does not care about the life of their captives in Gaza. 5. It is also a matter of fact that a number of Israeli settlers in settlements around Gaza were armed and clashes with Palestinian fighters on October 7th. Those settlers were registered as civilians, while the fact is they were armed men fighting alongside the Israeli army. 6. When speaking about Israeli civilians, it must be known that conscription applies to all Israelis above the age of 18. Males who serve 32 months of military service and females who serve 24 months, where all can carry and use arms. This is based on the Israeli security theory of an armed people, which turned the Israeli entity into an army with a country attached. 7. The brutal killing of civilians is a systematic approach of the Israeli entity, and one of the means to humiliate the Palestinian people. The mass killing of Palestinians in Gaza is a clear evidence of such approach. 8. The Al Jazeera news channel said in a documentary that in 1 month of the Israeli aggression on Gaza, the daily average killing of Palestinian children in Gaza was 136, while the average of children killing in Ukraine in the course of the Russian-Ukrainian war was 1 child every day. 9. Those who defend the Israeli aggression do not look at the events in an objective manner, but rather go to justify the Israeli mass killing of Palestinians by saying there would be casualties amongst civilians when attacking the Hamas fighters. However, they would not use such an assumption when it comes to the Al-Aqsa flood event of October 7th. And 10. We are confident that any fair and independent inquiries will prove the truth of our narrative and will prove the scale of lies and misleading information in the Israeli side. This also includes the Israeli allegations regarding the hospitals in Gaza that the Palestinian resistance used them as command centres, an allegation that was not proven and was refuted by reports of many Western press agencies. So their plan was called Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, and it was a deliberate targeting of Israeli military sites. There are military garrisons in all of the kibbutzes surrounding Gaza, and indeed we know some of the hostages taken were soldiers, such as 2 of the 3 who were killed allegedly by poison gas attacks by Israel. Other hostages certainly were not hostages, though. hostages were sought to exchange for those Israel is keeping imprisoned, a factor not covered nearly enough by our mainstream media. But Israel hold captive in their jails many more Palestinian hostages than Hamas holds Israeli ones. The Hannibal directives are there to prevent these deals, Israel preferring to kill their own people than release Palestinians they are holding themselves. And after Netanyahu kiboshed a cabinet-agreed negotiation for hostages with Hamas just last week, it again reinforces the ongoing belief that Netanyahu does not value Israeli lives. Israeli prisoners released have attested to being well looked after, as stated here as well, which cannot be said of Palestinian hostages released by Israel, who have made many claims of being abused while in captivity. Hamas, also unlike Israel, have held their hands up to having potentially made mistakes here. They don't directly admit them, but they do say that they're possible. Of course, independent investigation is required, and they welcome that. So this is not the response of a group seeking to absolve itself entirely of any fault here. We know there were Israeli helicopter attacks on people fleeing the Nova Music Festival. We've seen footage of that on social media. They mention the Israeli news outlets also corroborating that. And they talk about the ongoing examples that demonstrate an apparent indifference to the lives of Israeli hostages. The death toll of civilians in Gaza also speaks to an attitude of life being cheap, as long as they take a few Hamas operatives out as well. I could pick out more from this, but I'd rather you think about that and perhaps reread it or re-listen to it. You've seen the news stories covered. I've covered a lot of them. But there's scores that I haven't that are reflected in this statement too. But the thing that stood out most for me was that this was just a far more honest appraisal of what went down and what has happened since than anything Israel has actually issued. Any of their so-called evidence has proven so often haven't been completely debunked as a pack of lies. Now, I am not sitting here extolling the virtues of one side over the other. I am going to great lengths to try and avoid doing that, because innocent lives have been lost on both sides here. Who is to blame for what? Or that those attacking it are the ones holding occupation and having a genocide. Those being genocided have every right to oppose that occupation. It must be reflected in the consequences that follow these events when they eventually end, and they must end. Too much innocent life is still being lost. We need a ceasefire. We need leaders prepared to call for one. And we need a two-state solution, whether Israel wants that or not, along with an end to their occupation of Palestine. All Netanyahu has right now is rhetoric, especially as we wait for the verdict due tomorrow from the International Court of Justice. And he's given out some mad speeches of late because of it. This one here is possibly his most insane, though. Watch it next and see if you think it's Israel or Hamas who sound the more warped, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next feed. Cheers, folks.
Yes, may I tell you? So, you hear Hamas version of the story, and we have been living with the Israeli version of the story since December. And we know that the destruction and the killing, I would like to know if a man, soldier to soldier, a kill soldier to soldier, and you hold some of the enemy's citizens, and the people them who are fire at you decide say it no matter who them kill as long as them get rid of the soldier, the enemy, even if him have some hostage. So them take helicopter and bomb out the people them, whether them is Israeli or whether them is Hamas. Them have a name them call it. The Hamas people them in a house with some Israeli hostage. And them just fly helicopter over it and drop bomb in there and kill everybody. That the parents know, and some of the Israeli them who get Lego, and some of the parents them who want them loved ones leave Hamas captivity, against Netanyahu, and him come out now and a ball out and I say, people who is talking against what he's doing is supporting Hamas. Really, I get mad. Him say, oh, so imagine a group of people hold your loved ones in captive, hostage. And the man who tell you say, I'm going to try to get them out of the hostage area. He might kill hostage too, because him shoot a three of them dead the other day by the Israeli army. But him know I say, who not take up for the Hamas terrorists them. It's a human thing it they know, because we understand like all the Palestinians them, them are racist too, You think a joke? Black people have it hard amongst them people there, But what? We look on the situation just like the South African them who say we was under that apartheid system and we know it feel. That is why them decided them to take it to the International Court of Justice. Whether or not we understand what is happening as it relates to black people and all of those other people. We don't have no friend. Africa don't have no friend, It just look like that we are there. And we have that in our mind. But when we realize genocide is genocide, no matter who I do it, genocide is genocide. I mean, I know what black people are going to people's land and I wipe out a whole group of people to control them land. I don't know if you can show me that in history. Well, I mean, I think never happened in history, but I don't know of it. Because right now we under some little weird thing in our mind. We're traumatized to the point where we love traumatizers, is there such a word? We love them. As a matter of fact, we'll kill each other for them. Yeah, we'll kill each other for them. Continuously. Here we go.
How can a people be so traumatized?
Well, we get to people when certain things start going on, Yeah, man. When people have plans, real serious plans, we ask the question, Elon Musk is at it with him, chip them, and him done do out a test run in a human beings. This chip is supposed to help you with any chronic sickness where you have. You implant it in you and connect it to your other computers. It can connect to your brains, can connect to other. It sounds like some Star Trek movie. Them things that sound like some things where you see in a movie, I mean, I tell you, say, you see them things where you see in a movie, don't take it like, say, some just Hollywood, It have basis and foundation in how them people are living, and what them I think. And it's not joke business, When you go a movie and see all them science fiction movie, it have basis for how them I think. Just because we not think and I go that way there, we have feel said, sure, them things are not real, Rasta. It's realer than real. I want to tell you how real it is. Them really, really do what them I do. And I plan to do more things too. Yeah. So don't feel no way. When you real play them things and sound like that, then them people, no, some of the things that people can do them someday. Man can do anything. You man talk about man can't blow breath in a man. Maybe him can't blow breath in a man, but him can make something we think better than man and all information better than man and more information better than man and work longer than man. Yes. Energize himself longer than man. Keep more healthy than man. So, don't underestimate how man brain work. You see, them days when we are talking about, say, man now get to do this and man now, that done with. That done with. Because see a man come here and I want to tell you, say, if you did born blind, him can make you see. And I don't know miracle thing him a talk about. I don't know miracle thing. Or something a man make. Him a go implant in you. If you have chronic disease, him can put the thing in you. I don't know, gods make them thing there. A man sit down in a place and experiment and do this and do that and make it. So don't underestimate what man can do. You know, see it? Man can do anything he want to do. Anything we want to do, he will do it. And a whole heap of things is to come that we don't even think about it yet. Yeah. Whole heap of things will happen. Maybe 60, 70, 80 years when I have a guy guitar so long need I know. Maybe 30 years from now, because I see 30 years ago, we never did have all these cell phone as a habit, as part of our life. When man can just walk up and down and now look where I go and I talk to people all in England and Japan and all them places, on the roadside. You know? When you want information, you just press where you want in there and it just appear upon you. So all them information is stored into a little microchip inside of your computer. So when we look now and we say, boy, man can't do this and man can't do that. Man can do anything. Me are telling you that. Yes. So you know, we're going to take a break and come forward. You know. Yes, 12 o'clock gone from 2 1, you know. Yes, listen.
Brothers and sisters, this is Onyx, and I want to share a piece that I wrote a few years ago called Immaculate Misconception. Sister J was kind enough to allow me to put this on her page, so here is Immaculate Misconception. From motherland to foreign land, from beaded necklaces to chains, from Africans to Americans, from warriors to slaves, from ritual to religion, from culture to Christ. From Ashe to Amen, they said Jesus died for our sins. How can we believe their white God died to save our black skin? Knowing they hate us the way that they do, they'd never worship a God they didn't believe hated us too. We choose to worship their God. We worship it more than they do. Yet our ancestors suffered, their masters tortured and beat them, made them bow to their knees and surrender to Jesus. But we don't honor our ancestors for the blood that they shed. We sit in church crying with Christians because Jesus suffered and bled. We don't look to our history for truth. We look to their Bible instead. But it's time for truth to be spoken. Something's got to be said. Something's got to be said. It's time we tear down their lie. Something's got to be said. It's time we do more than survive. Something's got to be said, for it's time we remember we're not African Americans, blacks, coloreds, or niggers. We're African people who strayed way too far. We're African people. We deny that we are because flowing like poison, their religion has spread, growing like cancer by our ignorance fed. We've been manipulated, lied to, deceived, and misled to the point that our ancestors' voices are dead. It's time we connect with our ancestors, disconnect their religion. Our ancestors were Africans before they were Christians. Our ancestors were Africans before they were slaves. It's time we start living and thinking the African way. In spite of what we've been taught, it's time to forget what we learned. It's time for truth to be spoken, but for truth to be heard, something's got to be said to cause our thinking to change. Somebody's got to say something. I've got something to say. Before Adam and Eve, before Abel and Cain, long before Noah's Ark, before the floods and the rains, before Abraham, Isaac, Moses, Joseph, and Jacob, before Samson, Delilah, Goliath, and David, before the prodigal son returned to his home, before the children of Israel for 40 years roamed, before resurrection, redemption, rebirth, and religion, before Christians created chaos and division, before a biblical fairy tale was accepted as true, before the Testament, before a Testament knew there was Osar and Aset, Heteru, Geb, and Sebek, Heru, Seker, Tahudi, Amen, Herikahudi, and Ma'at were the principles guiding our ancestors' lives. Not a religion whose God was hung on a cross left to die. Our ancestors listened to spirit, and by spirit were led. Not by a book trimmed in gold, words of Christ written in red. Our ancestors walked in and lived in a spiritual dimension beyond Jesus Christ's understanding or their God's comprehension.
By the time a virgin named Mary gave birth to a savior named Jesus, our ancestors had constructed the Sphinx and built the pyramids of Egypt. Their white folks stole us and sold us and told us, surrender. They called us unworthy, called us ungodly sinners. They told us our God was a heathen and we practiced the pagan religion their God commanded. They practiced a form of cannibalism. Taking Holy Communion in remembrance of his death, they drank their God's blood. They ate their God's flesh. They arrested innocent women, put them in prison, charged them with crimes they'd never committed. In the name of their pagan religion, they told lies so convincing when they put these women on trial, no one would defend them. These women healed those who were sick before modern medicine existed through a method of healing which we call holistic. Yet these daughters and wives and mothers of children were unjustly tried and unjustly sentenced. And it was the Christians who preached thou shalt not bear false witness, who falsely accused them and convicted them as witches. It was the Christians who judged them and sentenced them to die. It was Christians who tied them to stakes and burned them alive. It was Christians who said they were evil and followers of Satan. It was the Christians who murdered those women in Salem. And the same Christian who started the witch hunt crusades wrote the Bible they lived by. His name was King James, meaning the God of the Christians allowed his words to be written by hands washed in the blood of innocent women. And in this Bible we trust that never acknowledges us. Not from the first word in Genesis to the last word in Revelations does their Bible mention our people, our history, our nation. Not one chapter, one verse, not one scripture, one sentence. So how could their God have created Africans in his image? Because if their Bible is true, Africans never existed. Their Bible says by his power, Jesus raised up the dead. Their Bible says by his power, 5,000 people were fed. Their Bible says by his power, Jesus turned water to wine. He healed those who were crippled, gave sight to the blind. By his power, he opened deaf ears and the mute may speak. But where does it say by his power, he unshackled our ancestors' feet? Where does it say by his power that he set our ancestors free? Where does it explain why his power still ain't set us free? We're not free as a people because we're still believing their lie. They don't need to shackle our feet. Their religion has shackled our minds. I don't care what you believe. They believe in a God with white skin. And if it's their God that you're serving, it makes no difference to them whether we're saved or we're slaves. It really don't matter. Because in their minds, we're still serving a white man as our master. So if you believe you're a Christian, if you believe John 3:16, if you believe their God is your God and his death set you free, then why did your God perform miracles to free the children of Israel, never even attempted to free your African people? Why did your God curse the Egyptians and take their riches away and let the Christians get wealthy, selling your ancestors as slaves? If their God, who's your God, loved you so much he died, then explain this to me. Tell me why your God freed the children of Israel from slavery by killing all the firstborn Egyptians. But when your ancestors were in bondage, enslaved by the Christians, when Christian hands locked their shackles, when Christian hands held the keys, why didn't your God kill their firstborn to set your ancestors free? And if hanging Jesus on a cross was to save you and me, who are our ancestors saving as they hung from the trees? If Jesus saved us by suffering in hell for 3 days and 3 nights, who are our ancestors saving by suffering each day of their life? If beating Jesus with a whip was to save us from sin, who are our ancestors saving as whips to open their skin? Who are our great-grandmothers saving as they were raped and violated? Who are our great-grandfathers saving as they were stripped and castrated? Why were our ancestors tortured? Why were our ancestors slaves? They suffered far more than Jesus, but not even themselves could they save. So how can we as their descendants spit in our ancestors' face by serving a God who ignored them as they screamed for his mercy and grace? How can we as their descendants call Christians our sisters and brothers when they snatched our African babies out of the arms of our African mothers? How can we as their descendants bow down and give praise to the God of a people who stole our language, our name, stole our culture, our heritage, our spirit, our will, then in our face shoved their Bible and told us thou shalt not steal? How can we as their descendants, the God of our ancestors, reject, but give our glory and honor and praise and respect to a cross they burned as they slip ropes around our ancestors' necks? How can we as their descendants believe Christianity could save us when the Christians who preached it were the ones who enslaved us?
Dear, may I tell you, from the earth. Remember one time I tell you about Port Royal, where Port Royal was the wickedest place on earth, and an earthquake come and mash it up, sink a whole heap of it. And I need them water, you know. You have whole heap of things and they were precious, you know. Things a white man knowing down there, days in, days out, months in, months out, a dive. Yes. You know what things are underneath there, so? Will part where the Queen thief from other, you know, when call Henry Morgan and all them man there. Used to raid the other ship them and take them loot and bring come a Port Royal. And Port Royal sink. Earthquake. It's a very serious thing. Man can do anything he want to do. Him can be the wickedest of wicked. And him can be the best of all best. But him is kind of schizophrenic. Schizophrenic. Man mind is schizophrenic. Don't make them tell you no foolishness. Real music still a make. That me say. All it needs is some more year play. That me say. That me say. Let's have to rectify the problem. Yeah, you must know there's a problem. Because it's all the truth. It's all the truth them a run straight.